Hey, it's Wednesday. It is 7 o'clock, and welcome to your Wednesday Wellness. Welcome. It's been a rainy day today, but it hasn't been too bad, has it? So, welcome. How many more times am I going to say that? And just move these screens around a little bit. So, the first thing I need to know is can you hear me as always? I always get a little bit panicky over these mics and whether they're working or not. So give me a shout. Can you hear me okay? How you doing? How is everybody? How are you all? I think my mic's a little bit loud. Either my mic's a little bit loud or I'm a little bit loud. So can you hear me? Please give me a thumbs up if my volume is okay and we will begin. Tonight is sleep. It's all about the sleep tonight. Why are we doing sleep? Well, because it's so important. It's massively important to everything that we do in terms of how we function. And also, I'm just going to do something. And also, I'll just move that. Perfect. Thanks, Gail. And massively important to how we are physically, but also really important to how we are mentally. Okay, it's like I always describe sleep as like it's one of our absolute foundations. It has to be in there, and we have to have had a really good night's sleep for this to be functioning in a really productive way. Okay, first thing I'm going to ask you to do is something I always ask you to do, is to share the love, get it out there, get more people watching. This is a free resource sponsored by the amazing Newark and Sherwood District Council. We did this together. We put these lives on together because we want to get information out to you beautiful people to help you survive this current period, but not just this current period. Everything you learn at the moment you can take forward with you through life. These are like they can be life-changing lessons. In some cases, I'm not saying I'm some sort of guru, but they can be. Okay, welcome to everybody that is tuning in. We're going to begin with sleep. Okay, so what happens if we don't get enough sleep? Anything you want to ask about sleep? Really setting myself up there. Anything you want to ask about sleep, please ask, and I will try my best to answer. I'm not a sleep expert. I'm a psychotherapist, but I have a lot of information in front of me. And like I said earlier, it's one of the foundations of good mental health and good physical health. Okay, so what happens if we don't get enough sleep? Memory issues. We can lose our memory because as we sleep, the mind kind of recalibrates itself, and it goes through this whole function whilst we're asleep. And if we're not getting enough sleep, then that doesn't happen. So therefore, we begin to have poor memory. Okay, one of the things we're going to look at later is how the learning that we do during a day then solidifies itself whilst we're asleep. But if we don't get a good night's sleep, then it doesn't solidify itself. How interesting that. So it means that all of the learning that we might have done, or all of the little pops of learning that we might have done, we may then lose because we haven't had a good night's sleep. So that's an interesting little fact for you. Where was I going with that? Oh yeah, memory issues. Poor sleep can cause memory issues. Mood changes, we know that. The best way I can describe this one is, as we don't get enough sleep, the ability to be rational to what somebody has said to us is reduced dramatically. Because remember, when we're working with the frontal cortex, the rational part of the brain, we're always looking for a really nice balance. We're always looking for that to be as comfortable as possible. And if it's sleep deprived, then our ability to be rational is reduced dramatically. So another good reason why sleep is important. Weakened immune system. Again, the body is just weakened because it hasn't had time to repair and replenish and restore itself. Risk for diabetes, low sex drive, trouble thinking and concentration. So that takes us back to the mind again. Again, it just comes down to that it hasn't had time to replenish itself, recalibrate, calibrate. No, not the other word. Calibrate. Yeah, that one. high blood pressure, weight gain, and risk of heart disease and poor balance. Poor balance because we're tired and we go off. But weight gain, sleep helps us. I'm going to go into this a little bit later, but again, it does something with calories and all of that. So look at that for a list. Memory, poor memory issues, mood changes, weakened immune system, risk of diabetes, low sex drive, trouble thinking and concentration. It can cause accidents. High blood pressure, weight gain, risk of heart disease, and poor balance, all from not getting enough sleep. So, here's the thing that I get told all the time. Here's the thing that happens all the time. Please share this feed. I don't get told all that all the time. I can see how many times you're sharing it. And I know that there's 10 people watching and only 3 people have shared. If you share, you're sharing love. That's all. You're just sharing love. The one thing that I get talked to all the time about is not having the ability to be able to go to bed and just go to sleep. Okay, we're going to look at that in a lot more detail in the kind of second half of this program, because it is really important that we go into this in some detail. I did a really quick lockdown live on this last Friday, I think, but it was like 10 minutes and I just threw some stuff out there. We're going to go through a list of things that we can do, that we can all do to really improve our sleep. Okay, so that's what happens if we don't get enough sleep. How much sleep do we need? Changes from age to age, and in our, I nearly said in our age group. Our age group, what's our age group? Infants about 16 hours a day, toddlers and preschoolers about 12 hours a day, teenagers need about 9 hours a day, although they take a lot more than that, don't they? Don't they just take a lot more than 9 hours a day? I remember having a teenager. I'm saying no more than that because I think she's watching. I'm just going to scroll this down so as I can see people's messages. Oh, that's an interesting question, Les. I'm not sure I could answer that. We might go into that a little bit later. Les has asked about 5-HTP tablets, and we might go into that a little bit later. Teenagers. Teenagers are 9 hours a day. Adults need 7 to 8. Some are fine with 5, others need closer to 10, but 7 or 8 is an average. It's a good average, and there's been a lot of studies over the years that I've kind of played with that average a little bit, but still, this is I pulled a study off today, or the information that I pulled off today is all really relevant, and 7 to 8 feels like it's a consensus, feels like it's a regular consensus. Okay, so 7 to 8 hours. A lot of people might look at that and go, what? Really? I would love that much sleep. I would love that much sleep. Hi, everybody that's saying hello on the feed. Les has put, do you think we need less sleep as we get older? According to this study, no. So we still need 7 to 8 hours. Maybe there's something further in that in terms of we don't feel like we need as much, but actually the truth is we do need just as much. People who don't get enough sleep experience the effects of sleep deprivation, is one common symptom. Since the brain does not have sufficient time to create new pathways for the information you've recently learned, talked about this a few minutes ago, sleep deprivation often affects how memories are consolidated. So what happens is we learn during the day, and then when we go to sleep and we go into a really nice kind of a solid sleep, the brain recalibrates itself. It's almost like it builds new pathways, gets rid of old information, so information that we don't need anymore, so that goes, and then the new information is then can't say that word. It's kind of like let's say it's pasted into the brain. If we don't get enough sleep, then that information also falls by the wayside, so any learning we've done just passes by. Okay, another reason we need lots of sleep. What else? Other potential cognitive impacts include trouble learning and focusing, reduced decision-making skills, and poor emotional and behavioural control. Mentioned this a few minutes ago. For me, that's about, again, not being able to access the frontal cortex, which is our rational part of the brain. We talked before about chimp and human, and chimp is 5 times stronger, 5 times faster than our human part of the brain. when if so, imagine that. So, like, let's say this is human, this is chimp. Chimp is big and really, really powerful. When both of those get a little bit sleep deprived, both of them reduce a little bit. But the 5 times difference is still there. So chimp, which is our primal part, is still much, much bigger and much, much stronger. So what we're always trying to do is give this little fella, the human part of us, the part that is rational, we're trying to give him as much energy and power as we possibly can over this one, over chimp. You know what I need in this office? I need a little chimp and a little human, so as I can show you physically. So yeah, we're always trying to give the little human as much as possible. If we have sleep deprivation, then both of those are compromised, but this one, the chimp, is still 5 times stronger. Okay, so just think about that in terms of sleep deprivation. What are we going to go on to? So, what can happen if we get better sleep and more consistent sleep and a slightly deeper sleep? Because remember that as we might be in bed for like 8 hours, but that doesn't mean to say that we're asleep for 8 hours, and it also doesn't mean to say that we have had 8 hours of good quality sleep. Sometimes it's not just about the amount of time that we're in bed, it's the quality of sleep that we get whilst we're in bed. So we're going to look at that a little bit later as well. Do you hope my voice follows me through? So better sleep gives us a better productivity and concentration. Research has linked getting enough sleep to better concentration, productivity, and cognition. Cognition, it's a big word, just means our ability to link and so think cognitive, think cogs, think how a cog moves, and then another cog moves, and then another cog moves. It's about how the brain links and makes patterns and begins to understand. The cognitive behavior is about how we link and our ability to link, and that's why cog. It's just a series of cogs. If there is poor cognitive ability, so think about a child when they say their cognitive learning isn't there, they're having difficulty saying, put your pen in your right hand, left hand, and then we go like that. Okay, the cognitive ability isn't there. That's all that cognitive means. What the researchers conclude is that sleep has links to several brain functions, including concentration, productivity, and cognition. Done that, sorry. A more recent study in 2015 showed that children's sleep patterns can have a direct impact on their behaviour and academic performance. I'm not even sure why a sentence like that is written in there, because for me, of course it makes sense. Of course there is going to be an impact if there isn't enough sleep. Just imagine sleep is all about recalibrating, resetting, resourcing, and the body kind of like it shuts down and then it goes into like this. It's almost like a maintenance mode, I guess. It's like the body goes into this maintenance mode, which is really important. Why? Lower weight gain risk, the link between weight gain and obesity. Sleep patterns is not completely clear. There have been several studies throughout the years that have linked obesity and poor sleep patterns. So again, less sleep increases the need for calories and also decreases the ability to lose weight. So if you don't want to sleep for any other reason, do it for weight loss. However, a more recent study in the journal Sleep Medicine concludes that there is no link between overweight and sleep deprivation. So for many years, they were saying that if you were overweight, then you wouldn't sleep so much. So they've dismissed that one. This research argues with previous studies that many previous studies failed to account adequately for other factors such as drinking alcohol, living with type 2 diabetes, level of physical activity, education levels, long working hours, and long sedentary time. A lack of sleep may affect a person's desire or ability to maintain a healthy lifestyle, but it may not or may not be a direct contributor to weight gain. If you're don't need that part. For me, when I read that, all I draw from that is, again, when we don't have the cognitive ability to work out or make good choices through lack of sleep, then we're really going to struggle with that. Everything for me begins here. Everything is about this part here. Okay. For those of you who are joining and you don't know who I am, my name is Kevin Guthrie. I'm a local psychotherapist in Newark. We do these lives because we want people to be healthier and happier and more peaceful. They are sponsored and supported by Newark and Sherwood District Council. That sounded a little bit like an infomercial, didn't it? Let's just check this feed and make sure there's nothing that I'm missing. Yeah, my beautiful daughter has said, I'm watching. I knew that. I knew you were in the room when I said that. Judy's put, would be interested in hearing more about 5-HTP. I will promise you, I'll pick up the 5-HTP tablets a little bit later on. I'm not saying that I was going to go there, but I will do now with caution. Okay, better calorie regulation from sleep. Similar to gaining weight, there is evidence to suggest that getting a good night's sleep can help a person consume. Maybe I should slow down a little bit. Can help a person consume fewer calories during the day. It's interesting, isn't it? So good night's sleep, fewer calories, because we need. Oh, when I relate that back to me, sorry, touching my mic. Felicia's put, any tips on how to fall asleep quicker? I can be awake for hours before I actually fall asleep. Absolutely. Yeah, we are, my darling daughter, we are definitely going to look at that in a little while. Better calorie regulation. I see the word regulation. This is how I relate that back to me. If I am not sleep deprived, if my cognitive functioning is all in place, then when I go to, I don't know, get a chocolate bar or get something out the sweet cupboard, there's more chance that I'll say no. There's definitely more chance that I'll say no because I'll just go, no, I'm okay. Whereas if I'm sleep deprived, a little bit grumpy, or if I've had an afternoon nap, a nanny nap, if I've had a nanny nap and I wake up and my blood sugar has dropped, oh, you have to fight me away from that cupboard in there. You absolutely have to fight me. So better calorie regulation, but again, I still insist that that comes from here and just getting a better night's sleep. Greater athletic performance. This is one for Joe in the room. Getting sufficient amount of sleep can boost a person's athletic performance. According to the National Sleep Foundation, adequate sleep for adults is between 7 and 9 hours, and athletes may benefit from up to as many as 10 hours. 10 hours! Accordingly, sleep is as important to athletes as consuming enough calories and nutrients. I kind of learned this many years ago around when I used to work in a gym. They used to say if you want to really put on muscle, then you have to go into a deep sleep because that's when muscle repairs and rebuilds. So I remember years and years ago that bodybuilders in particular, there was something around that, I'm not sure it was illegal. It was legal. There was something around that they used to take that used to put them into a deep sleep so as they could kind of repair those muscles they were trying to big. There were people that wanted to be really big and muscular. Amanda has put, also some people don't know about sleep apnea. I can do a Epworth Sleepiness Scale test. Can be useful to take to GP your concern if you're concerned. Thanks for that, Amanda. Jolie's put, I'd love 10 hours. Wouldn't we all, Joe? So sleep apnea is, Amanda, please feel okay with correcting me on this. Sleep apnea is when we are disturbed in our sleep because of breathing difficulties and we stop breathing and that can force us awake. Is that right, Amanda? It's something to do with our ability to breathe. We stop breathing because of our breathing tubey things. You see why I'm not a doctor. Tubey things, and then it forces us awake. So of course that disturbs our sleep. Okay? Is that right, Amanda? Please let me know if I'm right. One of the reasons this is a requirement, we're back to athletes now, is that the body heals during sleep. Other benefits include better performance intensity, more energy, better coordination, faster speed, better mental functioning. When you think about sleep on a really simple level, it's just one of our foundations. I was listening to a podcast on this the other day as I was preparing for this live, and the guy said something really interesting around, people think because we're just lying down in bed, we're not really doing anything, that we can very quickly underestimate the value of sleep. And we can very quickly go, I'll just do these emails, I'll just order this. It's almost like it's a little space. It's almost like it's a little space that they go, oh, I know what I'll do. I'll do that whilst I'm just lying here. We're going to go into stimulation later. We're going to go into what stimulates the mind and why we should not stimulate the mind, and what things might be stimulating your mind to prevent you from sleeping. And then just to try and clarify that, try and clarify what stimulation is, because I think some people get confused over what stimulation is and underestimate the power of some types of stimulation. Low risk of heart disease. One risk factor for heart disease is high blood pressure. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, getting adequate rest each night allows the body's blood pressure to regulate itself. It's interesting. Didn't know that. Doing so can reduce the chances of sleep-related conditions such as apnea, and promote better overall heart health. So again, it's just about, for me, that's just about collaborating. It's can't think of the word now. It's gone. When we reset. More social and emotional intelligence. This one's really, really interesting. This really taps into some of the other work that I've done. Sleep has links to people's emotional and social intelligence. Someone who does not get adequate sleep is more likely to have issues with recognizing other people's emotions and expressions. I find that fascinating. But also, well, of course, because if we don't have that cognitive ability, if we don't have access to the frontal cortex where all the rationale is, then why would we then recognize somebody's emotions in front of us, for example? For example, one study in the Journal of Sleep Research looked at people's responses to emotional stimuli. The researchers concluded, similarly to many earlier studies, that a person's emotional empathy is less when they do not get adequate sleep. That's really interesting. It's really interesting, but not so interesting, because again, if this is deprived, if we think about this part of our body here, and in terms of how everything is filtered or triggered or operated in some way from this, if this is sleep deprived, then this is sleep deprived, and this can't be functioning. It's a little bit like trying to run a really beautiful car with hardly any fuel in it, or water, or oil, let's say. And what would happen is, if we did that, is the car would just kind of go chugga 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 bang. And sometimes we kind of get close to doing that, don't we? Amanda's put, breathing, stopping and restarting. See NHS choices for exact symptoms. I thought it was. So sleep apnea is when breathing stops because of breathing difficulties, and then we wake up. I don't think, if I understand this rightly, I don't think we always wake up, but it certainly disturbs our sleep. So if you're getting sleep apnea, then you really need to get it checked out. More social and emotional intelligence. Number 7, preventing depression. So again, this taps into some of the work that we do directly here. The association between sleep and mental health has been the subject of research for a long time. One conclusion is that there's a link between lack of sleep and depression, understandably. A study appearing in the JAMA Psychiatry examines patterns of death by suicide over 10 years. It concludes that lack of sleep is a contributing factor to many of these deaths. So again, it's that ability to, nearly every one of these is apart from the physical ones, is about the ability or the lack of access to rational thinking And the lack of access to rational thinking comes from being sleep deprived. It's really important. I bet you can't wait till I get onto the part where I tell you how to sleep better. There's a lower inflammation. There's a link between getting adequate sleep and reducing inflammation in the body. For example, a study in the World Journal of I can't say that word, suggests a link between sleep deprivation and inflammatory bowel diseases that affect people's gastric tract. The study showed that sleep deprivation can contribute to these diseases, and that these diseases in turn can contribute to sleep deprivation. Stronger immune system. This is the last one on this list. And at the moment, do we all not want a slightly stronger immune system? Sleep helps the body repair, regenerate, and recover. The immune system is no exception to this relationship. Some research shows that how better sleep quality can help the body fight off infection. However, scientists still need to do further research into the exact mechanisms of sleep in regards to its impact on the body's immune system. If you look at that again really, really simply, then surely if the body is getting adequate sleep, then it is repairing to an adequate level. So therefore, the immune system would be functioning correctly. Whereas, could we assume that if the body is not getting adequate sleep, then everything is going to struggle in some way? Maybe. Message in any questions that you might have. So what are good sleep habits? Before we do that, let's have a little chat about 5-HTP. Okay. My honey's dropped to the bottom of my tea, so I'm going to stir it with my pen, because this is my office and nobody else comes in here, and it's my pen, so forgive me for doing that. There we go. 5-HTP. 5-HTP is a herbal remedy. It is bought off the shelf from Holland & Barrett or Amazon or anywhere else that you want to buy it from. It is a serotonin-based plant extract. And when you take it, it flushes the body with serotonin. Excuse me. When we flush the body with serotonin, we are more likely to go to sleep and get a more regular sleep. The next day, the after effect of taking 5-HTP is that we are calmer because that flush of serotonin is still in the system. 5-HTP is like a one-off tablet. You can take it once or twice or 3 times. By that I mean you can take it once a week or twice a week, or just when you feel that you need a better night's sleep. Here's what I say, because I do talk to my clients about 5-HTP. I was resistant to talk about it on here because I was. Here's what I say. Here's what I say to people. Go away and do your own research on 5-HTP. You work out whether you think 5-HTP is a thing that you would like to try and test it. It's in my cupboard. Occasionally I would take a 5-HTP and just flush my body with serotonin. Does it help? Yeah, it really does. It really does. Do I take it all the time? Not at all. Would I want to take it all the time? No, because I want to be more holistic and kind of work on my own system and make sure that my own system is regulated and as calm as possible. But for sure, go away and research 5-HTP and do your own research and then decide whether you want to take it or not. Okay? But it is nice. It's a really nice mood regulator, but completely herbal and completely natural. If you feel that you need to check it out with your doctor, then please check it out with your doctor as well. I would absolutely welcome and value you doing that with your doctor. Okay? So that's 5-HTP. I'm not saying anything more about it unless you've got any questions, and then I will answer any questions you have on 5-HTP. I'm not going to be rude about it. Right, so we're going to look at good sleep habits now, because the truth is about sleep is we don't very often have a good routine in terms of going to bed. It's almost like we expect that we are going to throw ourselves into bed and then just fall asleep. Or we're going to throw ourselves into bed, sit on our phone for 45 minutes and then expect that we're going to go to sleep. even if your iPhone has some sort of like, what can I say? The iPhones now go into like a sleep mode where they pull down a filter and it stops the blue light going into your eyes. Even with that, I would say your mind is still being stimulated, and that's what I wanted to say about stimulation. So I'm going to read through somebody else's list, and then I'm going to add in as I'm doing that. Have a sleep schedule, go to sleep and wake up around the same time every day, even on a weekend and vacations. So in this house, we go to bed at 10. Programs are kind of timed, so at 10 o'clock they go off. Never go to bed later than that. Usually get up about 6:30. And 6:30, I've just remembered something. Something I want to talk to you about. And that. They're so exciting, they are. And we have I can talk to you about the second one now. We have the second one there, we have it's like a wake up lamp. So a wake up lamp is at 6:30, so as we're out of bed by about 7:45, 7 o'clock, at 6:30, this lamp that sits on one of the bedside tables starts to flood the room with a little bit of light. And it gets brighter and brighter and brighter over like a 20 or 30 minute period. And at this time of year, particularly at this time of year, not so much in the summer, but for at least 6 months of the year, it is beautiful. It is absolutely amazing. And the reason it's amazing is because when you wake up in the morning and you're like, oh God, it's so bright, or it's so cold, or you have to walk into the bathroom and you're like in the bathroom and you're like this, you can't see because my eyes haven't adjusted. With this lamp, it just gently, it's like somebody really gently tapping you out of your slumber saying, come on, guys, it's time to wake up. Come on, wake up. It's lovely. Absolutely love it. It's one of the best investments in our bedroom ever. So have a look at that. I'm not sure where you would get it from, but I guess if you Googled wake up lamp, a wake up lamp would appear on the listing somewhere, but it is absolutely lovely in terms of just gently flooding the bedroom with light to gently wake you up. And honestly, you do every morning. You gently wake up because your eyes start to catch little bits of the light and they just gently pull you out. So nice. So I've done that part now. Have a sleep schedule. So this is about having a routine. The reason we have a routine, particularly at night, is because what we're trying to do in the mind is we're trying to trigger the mind into going, it's bedtime. So I don't know, one of your triggers might be brushing your teeth. One of your, and when I say, well, I'm using trigger in a good sense here, so trigger into mind shutting down. One of your triggers might be putting your phone down at 9 o'clock. So that's the first signal that your mind gets that eventually you're going to go to bed, or you're within an hour of going to bed. I heard something the other day which is a really interesting piece of advice. I'm not sure how on board I am with it, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. And the advice was that if you do your bedtime routine an hour before you go to bed, then it means that when you go up to bed, you can go to bed. Let me explain that. So when you, for example, I don't know, before you go to bed, if you brush your teeth, floss your teeth, take your makeup off, moisturize your face, there might be 4 or 5 things that you do before you actually get into bed. If you do that at 9 o'clock, when you go to bed at 10 o'clock, then when you go up to bed at 10 o'clock, you can just get into bed. Because even brushing your teeth and flossing your teeth could be a little bit of a stimulant. I'm not entirely sure that I agree with it, because for me, it could be that the brushing your teeth and flossing your teeth and makeup and all of those other routines could be triggers or connections in the mind that start shutting the mind down into, oh, we're going to bed. I just remember working with a client years ago, and I was asking him about sleeping. So yeah, I sleep solidly. He says, no, I just sit on the edge of the bed and I take a couple of deep breaths and then I lie down and go to sleep. And I was like, that's really interesting. So for him, that was him signaling to his mind, we're going to bed, we're going to sleep. And then he would lie down and he would just go to sleep. He would just go straight out. So bedtime routine, morning routine, because remembering, and I've said this for a while now, that a good night's sleep starts first thing in the morning. all of those hours ahead of night time. It starts first thing in the morning, and it starts there because what happens in the evening can largely depend on what time we get up. So we need a routine at either side of the day. So getting up at 7, bit of a routine. I've read loads of studies today that have said a nap during the day is not a bad thing as long as it's no more than 30 minutes. Not necessarily a bad thing, and actually, in a lot of cases, can be really, really good because it can just make us more functional. As long as we're not doing it after 3 o'clock, and as long as we're not doing it for more than 30 minutes, then it's absolutely fine. What I'm going to do with these, I'm going to list at the very end. I don't know, about 10 to 5 to. I'm going to deliver a list of things. Okay, let's just put into the feed. This is a Philips Smart Sleep and Wake Up Light Alarm Clock, simulated sunrise and sunset. I don't think I've seen the sunset. Oh, why have I not seen the sunset? Multiple lights and sounds, relax, breathe to. So that's what it is. It's amazing. Routines. So we need routines because our minds and our minds and our brains really activate and are very stimulated, not in that way, by routines. It's like our minds are like a series of roadways and connectors. So we need to signal we're going to bed. Okay. And it's from Amazon, or other good retailers are available. Clear your mind before you go to bed. So make a to-do list early in the evening so you don't stay awake and worry about the next day. And that's a great idea. So I don't know, let's say 6, 7 o'clock, you've had your tea at 7 o'clock, a little pad knocking around somewhere, and just write yourself a to-do list. What have I got to do tomorrow? And just write it down. When you do that, you take it from here and you clear it and you just put it to one side. If you remember anything during the night, then just keep writing it down because then it doesn't get stuck here. If it gets stuck here, then there's more chance that it will regurgitate itself in our minds. Okay, so make yourself a to-do list to help you clear your mind. Create a good sleep environment. Make sure your bed and pillows are comfortable. Turn down the lights and avoid loud sounds. Keep the room at a comfortable temperature. With that one, what I would add into that is about an hour, 2 hours before you go to bed, make sure that the lights in the house, in the general house, have been dimmed, have been lowered, because again, it starts to adjust our eyes into like a slower, a lower kind of light filtration, and the brain starts shutting down. We were talking about the. I just put. I'm always put. You can leave the curtains open in the summer. You can if you want. And Joe has put, we love the Carmack. The Carmack's brilliant. For a short while, I used to listen to Stephen Fry reading a bedtime story about the lavender fields in France. It was beautiful, and it just allowed me to sink under. But even something like that, if you listen to that on a regular basis, then all of a sudden, there's a meditation that I do during the day. And honestly, when my mind is really connected to this meditation, and when I go into it, usually within seconds, my mind and body have just completely gone, and they are completely relaxed. Didn't do it so much today, but meditation's a practice. That's why they call it a practice. So yeah, a good sleep environment, lower the lighting in the house. The other thing about stimulants are, make sure that when you're watching telly, you're not watching high stimulation TV. So high stimulation TV is high anxiety TV. We don't do that before we go to bed, okay? We're not drinking caffeine from 1 o'clock in the day. No caffeine after 1 o'clock, because caffeine stays in your body for about 6 hours. So we're not doing that. If you want a hot drink, then have yourself a decaffeinated tea or a coffee, okay? Decaffeinated or decaffeinated Diet Coke, whatever you want, but no caffeine after 1 o'clock. A lot of people will argue with that. A lot of people will argue with, well, I'm okay with sleeping. If you're okay with sleeping and you're not struggling, then you can ignore all of this advice. It's not important to you, and then you can drink caffeine until it's coming out of your ears. But if you're really struggling to sleep, and if you're really struggling to get a good night's sleep, then all of this list that I'm reading to you right now is really important in terms of you getting some sort of good quality night's sleep. Joey listens to Sienna the Sleepy Sloth of the night. Oh, that sounds cute. I think I want to listen to Sienna. What else? Exercise every day. Exercise every day tires the body out. So try and get outside, get some fresh air, because that invigorates the body, but then tires it out. But try to avoid exercising during the few hours right before bed. Again, I'll say again, if you're sleeping well and you go for a run at 8 o'clock and you're sleeping okay, then it's not a problem. But if you are struggling with your sleep and you're exercising at 8 o'clock at night, then it could be that's too late. These are all tips for people that are really, really struggling. Relax before you go to bed, take a warm bath, read, or do another relaxing activity. There's been debates over having a shower and having a bath before bedtime, because some say it can stimulate the body. I think a shower in particular can stimulate the body. Here's the other thing that I would say to you, try in terms of getting a good night's sleep. So imagine that we have a energy level in our body that goes from 1 to 10 every day. And during the day, we might operate at like a 7, 8 or a 9. So we're energized because we're doing work, we're looking after the kids, we're cooking the tea, we're doing everything we need to do. Busy, 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 busy. We can't go from that 7, 8 or 9 and then get in bed. It's not going to happen. Nor can we expect in the time between, 9 and 10, that we're going to go from a 7, 8 or a 9 down to a 2 where we're going to get into bed and go to sleep. It's not going to happen. So here's something else that I want you to try. When we talk about deep breathing, my standard is that I want us to deep breathe for 2 minutes every hour all day long. But I'm really aware that that's a really high standard to hit. But try this. Try deep breathing as often. All I'm going to say is as often as you can before you go to bed. And the last thing you do is you sit on the edge of your bed, and this would be a really, really powerful one in terms of creating those links in the mind. Sit on the edge of the bed and take like 6 of the deepest breaths that you can possibly muster. Okay, doesn't matter if you go dizzy, because you'll be sat down, and in about 30 seconds you're going to lie down. Deep breaths, about 6. Make that part of your bedtime routine, where you sit, you do some really, really deep breaths, and then you just lie down. By this point, teeth are brushed, flossed, moisturizer's off, on, makeup's off, phone is somewhere else in the room, alarm's set. You're just going to lie down. And you could even do that in the dark. You could do the deep breaths in the dark, because you don't need the light on to deep breathe. Try that in terms of just shutting the body down. Going back to Talisha that asked this earlier. Talisha, if you are still in the room, then that's what I suggest. Deep breathe. When we deep breathe, we reset the body and we pull the energy right down on purpose. Deep breathing is not just for panic attacks or anxiety attacks. Deep breathing is a regulation for the body, and if we want to go to sleep, then deep breathing can really help take us under. Lovely Hadras, but if I'm struggling sometimes, I have a chamomile infusion tea. Chamomile tea is absolutely lovely. That could be part of your routine, for example. So from 9 until 10, 9 o'clock you've brushed your teeth, took your makeup off, moisturised, flossed, sit downstairs watching something really, really low energy on TV. Phone is put away, alarm is set. I mean, this is like, I have to say, this is like gold standard going to bed. You've done all that, sit down to watch some TV with a chamomile tea. Then, TV off, walk upstairs. This is what we're not going to do at this time of day, okay? We are not going to turn the TV off, start plumping cushions, start taking cups to the kitchen, start washing dishes. You can take them to the kitchen if you want. But we're not going to start washing dishes. We're not going to start emptying the dishwasher. We're not going to start anything that stimulates us. We're trying to go to bed and we're trying to get a really, really good night's sleep. So all of that stuff there, let it go. You can do that in the morning. And you would only do any of this if you are absolutely desperate for a good night's sleep. This is gold standard. 9 o'clock, brush your teeth, take your makeup off, if you wear makeup, moisturise, set your phone alarm, put it at the side of the bed, so that last hour is completely digital free, which would be another amazing gold standard. And then drink some chamomile tea. 10 o'clock when you're going to bed, because that's your regular time, go up. Delicious, but I do often deep breathe before bed. Good, brilliant. I wonder where you learned that from. And if you're still not going under, then deep breathe again. And if you do the deep breathing and you lie down and you realize you're awake for a few minutes, then deep breathe again. Here's another little tip for you about deep breathing: is if you wake up at, say, I don't know, it doesn't matter what time, but if you wake up, we wake up for two reasons. We wake up and our mind goes, oh my goodness, I haven't forgotten to do that. Or we need to go to the bathroom. If you go to the bathroom, try to consciously not wake up. So you're almost unconscious. You know where the bathroom is, you know what you're doing. You certainly don't need a light on. Just go and do your business. Low energy, don't think about anything. Go back to bed, roll under, go to sleep. Okay? If you wake up in a bit of a start because you've had a bad dream, or because you've just remembered you need to do something, or you're worried over something, then the first thing we do is we never engage in the thought that has woke us up. Never engage in it. Never engage in the worry. We go straight into deep breathing. Deep breathe right straight away. I want you to be triggered into deep breathing as soon as you wake up. If at first you don't succeed, then try again. So deep breathe. If you don't go straight under, then deep breathe again. If you don't go straight under, then deep breathe again. Deep breathing is the one thing that you can do at that time in the morning when you've woke up that will regulate your body and allow you to go straight back under. The difficulty that you'll have with that is you have to remember that as you wake up. So you kind of need my voice in your head going, deep breathe, deep breathe, deep breathe. I'm just reading, so pillar sprays are nice. But I'm looking at the feed and wondering what people are saying. Pillar sprays are nice. I'm a fan. Somebody else has put, Joe's put, it has to be a good one though. Les has put. So pillar sprays are like a little lavender sprays, or just something that you spray on your mist onto your pillow, and it just allows you again. It's a little bit of aromatherapy to help trigger the mind into going to sleep. So all of these things that we do will all help you get a really good night's sleep. But all of this is really, really good. This is like gold standard. At the bottom it says, see your healthcare provider if you're having trouble sleeping or feeling extra drowsy during the day. Talk to your provider, there are treatments available. Don't consume caffeine, nicotine and alcohol late in the day. These substances can interfere with your ability to fall and stay asleep. Don't lie in bed awake. It's better to do a soothing activity like reading until you feel tired. Reading always takes me under. Always helps me fall asleep in bed if I'm ever sleepy. But I would say that if you can get away without reading, then do it. Then just allow yourself to fall asleep. It says here, don't nap during the day, but I read somewhere else that if it's less than 30 minutes, it's okay, but never after 3. Napping during the day, I'm a big napper during the day because sometimes my day goes from 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, so they can be long days. So sometimes a 20-minute nap. Am I napping or am I meditating? I'm not sure. I'm listening to meditative music, so maybe I'm meditating. Don't think negative thoughts. Try to avoid negative mindset when you're going to bed, such as, if I don't get enough sleep now, I won't get through my day tomorrow. We've talked a lot about negative mindsets and positive mindsets. If we start thinking like that, for example, do you ever do that thing? This is so common in this household. Do you ever do that thing where you go to bed and you've got to be up really early to go to the airport to catch a flight? How bad is that? How bad is that? Because you know you've got to be up at 4 or 5 o'clock and you go to bed at 10 o'clock and you lie there and you're like this. I need to sleep. I need to sleep. I need to sleep. When we've done that, we've allowed the mind to take over. And we're so worried that we're not going to get up at 4 o'clock that, of course, we're never going to go to sleep. And then chances are what we'll do is we'll toss and turn for a couple of hours and then we'll be wide awake at 4 o'clock. Or usually what happens is we toss and turn for a couple of hours and then at 3:30 we go into a really, really deep sleep because we've got to be awake at 4 o'clock. We're allowing the mind then to take over. And what it's saying here is, don't worry, don't think negative thoughts, try avoiding a negative mindset. Catch your thoughts before you go to bed. Program yourself into thinking, I'm just going to go to bed. Just going to go to bed, just going to go to sleep, and I'm just going to relax. I am going to go to sleep. I am going to get a good night's sleep. Don't allow the negative mindset to slip in. Because if you allow that to slip in, I agree, Charlie. Just not been common this year in terms of having to get up for a 5 o'clock flight. It's very true. A lot of us would be absolutely loving having to get up at 4 o'clock for a flight at the moment. So yeah, just be aware of those negative mindsets. And again, if you need a pad at the side of the bed, another little tip, if you need a pad at the side of the bed just to be able to write down stuff that you're worried about, so as you know, what happens there is, psychologically what happens is, you write it down and then your mind knows that you have stored it somewhere. Okay, it just knows that it is stored and it's all okay. So therefore your mind becomes a little bit emptier. Okay, Julie Spot, I use lavender oil on your pillows. Does that not stain, Julie? What else? What's the last thing? Don't use electronics right before bed. Electronics such as your phone or tablet can interfere with your body's production of melatonin. This hormone gets released before bed to help you feel tired. We said that earlier. It's obvious that if we are using iPads or anything with a digital screen, it is going to stimulate the brain. So think again about stimulation. Stimulation is high anxiety TV, caffeine, alcohol, nicotine, telephones. So telephones an hour before bed, get rid of them. Amanda's put, we're all going to be excited when we can do that. Yeah, absolutely. Won't be able to sleep at all. Won't, I think Amanda's referring to getting on an aeroplane and going away again. The other thing I wanted to talk to you really briefly about was a sad lamp, and I'm talking about this because I was talking to somebody about it the other day and all of a sudden it popped into my head. A sad lamp is not a little lamp that kind of sits there all depressed in a corner. That is not a sad lamp. A sad lamp is a little lamp that simulates daylight. Daylight or sunlight, I'm not entirely sure. A lot of people sit them on their desks so as their face catches some sort of daylight. It can really help in terms of getting daylight hours. I still insist that we're taking vitamin D at this time of year because that part's really important. But if that's not helping so much, then maybe try a sad lamp. You can get them for about 20 quid from Amazon. Sorry, I keep plugging Amazon. And other places are available, but it might just help in terms of helping you get that kind of stimulation that you need from daylight hours. It's not the same, but it definitely can help. There's been masses and masses of studies done into them, and they are really, really good. So, SAD lamp. SAD stands for seasonal affective disorder. I forgot that the last time I was talking. So that's it. Gold standard. Set yourself a routine. Do the routine maybe an hour before you go to bed. I'm not convinced by that one, if I'm honest. So if you go to bed at 10, then you're going to do your routine at 9. Flossing, brushing your hair, taking your makeup off, doing your moisturizer, all of the rest of it. Phone set, put to one side. Go downstairs, watch some low anxiety TV. That's so important, that is. Remember, if this is being stimulated, it's adjustment disorder. I've just been told. If this is being stimulated and then we expect to go to bed and for this just to drop, it's never going to happen. So, hour before, chamomile tea, low energy TV, and just allow the body to gently relax. I do think that when we look at some of this, that we avoid some of this because we then think that we're missing out on life. I want to stay up till 10 and 11 and 12 and I want to watch loads of TV. But then what happens is it affects our day after. So I want to leave you with this question. Well, not leave, but I want to offer you this question. If you're not getting enough sleep because you're staying up late and because you're watching high anxiety TV and it's really exciting, but then that is affecting your next day, that is affecting your ability to be happy, find peace, have pleasant conversations with people, react in ways that you want to react. Because remember, all of these lives are about all of that. They're all about us learning to behave in ways that we really want to behave. And sleep is a massive, massive part of that. So yeah, we can stay up late and we can get excited over TV and we can drink loads of coffee and alcohol and all of that. But is all of that really good for you? Is that really helping you? And is that really bringing peace to your world, particularly during the day? If it does, then you will ignore everything that I've said tonight, and you won't listen to any of it. But if being tired during the day and behaving in ways that you're not proud of during the day is really bothering you and making you unhappy, then you're going to start looking at getting a better night's sleep, because that's good for you. Next week, I want to look at values. I'm so excited about doing values. Why values? Because we have a set of values as people. We have a set of, and whether we consciously know what the values are or not, I do have a set of values that we live our lives by. And it can be really helpful for us to understand what those values are. So next week, I want to spend the whole session looking at values and maybe setting you a couple of tasks on what your values are, because I think it'd be really interesting for us all to know, firstly, to share what values are and where they come from and how they're developed and all the rest of it, but also similarly, where they come from and are they, here's a question for you, are they our values or did we learn the values from somebody else? So that's what we're going to do next Wednesday. Don't forget, I'm back tomorrow morning for another Lockdown Live. So we've got Thursday, Friday and Saturday this week, 3 mini subjects to cover over the next 3 days. Lockdown Lives take place every day at 8:15. Remember, all of this information can be shared and shared and shared and shared, and just keep passing it out. Even after it's recorded, you can just keep passing it out if you think it's relevant to other people. Jolly has put, so I shouldn't be sat here. Oh, you're funny, you are. So I shouldn't be sat here watching Killing Bill with a gin and tonic and on Facebook. I'm only joking. I know you are. I know you're only joking. I have got a cup of tea. Is that decaf tea? Decaf tea is lovely. Honestly, I can't see the difference. I can't see the difference between caffeinated and decaffeinated anymore. Let's just put, you're not joking though. I think I know Jo, and I'm sure that she's sat with a cup of tea. Right, I'm going because my tea's ready and it's one of my favourite teas of the week. So tonight we're having I'm telling you this, it's a fairly healthy, nutritious but simple meal. Bowl of vegetables with bacon chopped up, sorry if you're vegetarian, and then some cheese mixed into that as well. But like 80% vegetables, so broccoli and collie and green beans and all the rest of it. Bit of bacon, bit of cheese. Delicious. Literally one of my favourite teas. I love it. I will be back next Wednesday and we are going to look at values. Thank you to Newark and Sherwood District Council for supporting these lives. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your comments. Don't forget to share. Love and peace to you all. Take care. Bye.